Let us for a few minutes think of the Divine Lord and pray for the welfare of the whole humanity. Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Om Stapakaya Chadharmasya Sarvadharmaswarupine Stapakaya Chadharmasya Sarvadharmaswarupine Avatara Varishtaya Ramakrishna Yate Namah. Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma mritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us bow down to Sri Ramakrishna, the embodiment of all religions, the Supreme God incarnate. Let us pray to Him to lead us from unreal to the real, to lead us from darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge, to lead us from death to immortality. Let us be well established in peace and joy. Sri Ramakrishna was giving many instructions to Pandit Shashadhar, a great scholar. He gave him very valuable guidelines how he should practice spirituality. Pandit Shashadhar was very attentive. He was overwhelmed by the teachings of Sri Ramakrishna. He was very good, pure at heart, a great Pandit who could immediately understand what Sri Ramakrishna was telling him. So he enjoyed Sri Ramakrishna's teachings immensely. Every word of Sri Ramakrishna was making him thrill. In the course of his talks, he said, first I am quoting what Sri Ramakrishna has said, and then I give my comments. This was told by Sri Ramakrishna. He said, one cannot realize God without renouncing the ego. These are the very words of Sri Ramakrishna. We talk of realization. We get at times doubts. Why, in spite of so much practice, I am not able to realize God? If you want to know the truth in the clearest term, it is here. Are you free from ego? No. Then why do you ask about that question? Very clearly Sri Ramakrishna said, one will not be able to realize God without renouncing the ego. Why we are all suffering in this world? It is because of this ego. Whoever it is, he may be king of the kings, yet if he is not free from ego, he will have to undergo the consequence of that ego. There are many instances in our scriptures how on account of ego the person becomes erratic. I will give you the brief story of the incident. There was a king, very good king, looked after the subjects very well, very devotional. He would follow the disciplines of worship strictly, and he did 100 Ashwamedha sacrifice. So there is an injunction, whoever does 100 Ashwamedha sacrifice would become the king of the heavens. It is not easy to do those sacrifices. You will have to pass through terrible, difficult circumstances, hardships. Any moment, anything might happen that disturb the sacrifice. But anyway, this particular king was able to conduct all the 100 Ashwamedha sacrifice. Particularly when a person does the 100th Ashwamedha sacrifice, that's a very crucial time. Because the gods try to pull him down. So he became eligible, and as I said, according to the injunction of the scripture, he should become the king of the heavens. He became. He was overjoyed because he was very joyful when he was king in this world. But when he became the king of the heavens, the king of gods, you can imagine how he was joyful, very joyful. It went on for some time, but he became so much enamored of the power, of the position, of the name, of the honor. All the gods are giving him utmost respect and reverence. And all the gods in the heaven should obey him whatever he says. What he says is the law. So you can imagine how his mental state was. So this name, power, position, respect, honor, all these things slowly made him arrogant in a very subtle way in the beginning, but it became very prominent later on. He thought he is all powerful and he can do anything. That's the grossest mistake he did. He should not have thought he was all powerful. He should not have thought he can do anything. That only showed how much egoistic he was. All the bad propensities which bind a person into this world were raising their heads in the heart of this king. Anyway, he wanted to meet a person. He was overpowered by infatuation. He ordered the rishis to carry his vehicle. Saptarshis, they were all Brahmagyanis. They all had realized the truth. Brahmagyani means one who has completely erased his ego. In whom there is no trace of ego is called a Brahmagyani. And these Saptarshis retained their forms. They were able to function as rishis on account of the supreme will of God. It is not on account of their will they are acting upon. It is Lord's command. Who is the Lord? The divine, supreme, the all-powerful, omniscient, omnipresent Parabrahman, the God of gods, the supreme God. So, they didn't react to what this king of the heavens was telling, because according to the rules, they should obey him. They did obey. They were carrying his vehicle, moving on forward. It's a palanquin. But one of the rishis was short. He could not walk faster. He was stumbling while walking. Naturally, the movement of the vehicle, there used to be jerks. The king who was sitting inside, he became very much angry because he was disturbed now and then by these jerkings. He shouted from inside, "Who is that?" Not holding the palanquin properly. Why not you go in a proper way? See this audacity on account of the ego. See, the giant ego is ruling him now, and he became a victim of the giant. How? Now the rishis thought, oh, this person is losing his head. Now the time has come for him to be dropped from the heavens onto this earth, to suffer the consequences of this giant ego. Then they can't take any action on this king unless he should be liable for such action. He should be proved. Then only they can take action. Though all the rishis had tremendous power, they would not simply use the power because of this power's sake. No. They must have strong, tested proof to take any action. So, the rishis began to question him about some of the concepts of the Vedas. The king should be able to answer whatever the questions were raised by the rishis. Then only it is well established that his intellect is in well-formed shape. There is clarity in his intellect. But on account of the king's falling into immoral thinking, on account of his infatuation, he stumbled upon, he could not answer clearly the questions raised by the rishis. That became very strong reason for the rishis to take action against him. In a way, it's an impeachment. The king of the heavens should be impeached in your modern language. But again, they did not hurry upon. Let us wait some time more. One by one, they began to ask the question. If you are interested, you can read that episode. It is available in Srimad Bhagavat. Then he is answering in a very arrogant way, not properly, and he was behaving in a very foolish way, unbecoming of a god. And of course the vehicle was moving on. Again, this one of the rishi who was very short and he could not walk, again he stumbled and there was a big jolt. And the king became very angry. He could not tolerate anymore. He just kicked that particular rishi who was stumbling. Kicked him by his leg and told him, Sarpa, Sarpa. Sarpa means, it has got two meanings. Sarpa means go quick. Sarpa also means serpent. That was the climax. Then the vehicle virtually stopped. It could not move any further. Then that Rishi told, now, you have lost all merit to stay even a moment. Get down, live there like a serpent. You yourself told Sarpa, go, enjoy that serpent body. Go and live like a python. It's called, in Sanskrit, Ajagara Sarpa. The Ajagara Sarpa, the python, it cannot move. Body is heavy, very long, very stout, full of hungry. That is the state of Ajagara Sarpa. It has to depend upon the nature. Some prey should come near him, near its mouth, then only it can take the food. Once it comes to its mouth, nobody can escape from its clutch. Anyway, when it was pronounced, immediately he became to senses. That fellow, that king, who became mad after power. Immediately he came to his senses. What? What I am doing? What did I do? I was not like this. I came to this position because of the merit. Why did I lose my merit? He immediately realized it is because of that ego. One may be a devotee, one may be a tapasvi, ascetic. If he is not free from ego, he has to suffer the consequence. So he requested him, well, please excuse me, I have done my mistake. Please relieve me from this body of sarpa. How long should I live like that? So the rishis were very compassionate, and the particular rishi who pronounced it, he said, well, it's all right. You have repented now. Even then, you have to be in that body for sufficient time in order to burn the impurities clouding your mind. After some time, when Dharmaraj, one of the Pandavas, the chief Pandavas, when he comes to the forest, when he touches his feet, when your body is touched by the feet of Dharmaraj, then you will be released from this state. Till then, bear with. He did not undo it, but he gave him assurance. You will be released, but you have to pass through that state. There is no undoing about that. That shows a person who does a mistake cannot simply just escape from the consequence. No. The law is such, whoever it is, one has to pass through actions and reactions. One has to pass through that complex. One has to pass through that axis of action and reaction. Then Sri Ramakrishna tells here, very important point. He is telling you to renounce ego. He explains further what type of ego you should renounce. The unripe ego must be given up. It is a wicked ego that should be removed. The ego which keeps you far, far, far away from God, that is called as wicked ego. The ego which binds you more and more and more to this world is called the wicked ego. What is then the ripe ego? The ego of the child, the guileless child. Child of 1 year old. How guileless. The ego of the child, the servant ego, the attitude, I am the servant. I am existing to serve and serve and serve. That attitude is ripe ego. The ego of knowledge. Knowledge of the Supreme Self. As I said earlier, the person who is freed from ego gets the realization of Brahman. Afterwards he retains the ego on account of Brahman's command. In order to teach the people, in order to set the model, in order to guide the people, they retain the ego. That ego is not harmful. So, the ego which binds you to the world, the ego which always irritates you now and then, it makes you now depressed, now happy, now unhappy, now jealousy. Tremendous reactions in the mind are caused on account of the ego. As long as you are tending to be irritated, that means you are still worldly, though you are practicing spirituality. It only shows you must get rid of that worldliness. The serpent of worldliness must die. Then only you will be able to come close to God. The worldly man's ego is the ignorant ego, the unripe ego. It is like a thick stick. It divides, as it were, the water of the ocean of Satchidananda. All this suffering, all this darkness is because of this ego. Once that ego is gone, you beam with joy. The servant ego, the child ego, the ego of knowledge, they are all classified as ripe ego. They are like a line on the water. One can clearly see that there is only one expanse of water. It's a very thin line. The dividing line makes it appear that the water has two parts, but clearly one sees that in reality there is only one expanse of water. Shankaracharya, who expounded Advaita, non-dualism, he kept the ego of knowledge in order to teach people, in order to teach the science of yoga. God keeps in many people the ego of a jnani, the ego of a bhakta, even after they have attained Brahma Jnana. There is a famous example of Lord Hanuman, the great servant of Sri Ramachandra. Sri Ramachandra was immensely pleased by the service of Hanuman. So finally, Sri Ramachandra himself came near Hanuman. He just embraced him. That is the reward he got for his services done to Sri Rama. What did he get? What experience he had, Hanuman? Hanuman felt infinite joy in that hugging. The Lord of the universe is hugging him, embracing him. He immediately realized the oneness of spirit. He found himself and Sri Ramachandra are inseparable. He was in that experience for some time. Then afterwards, he came down to the lower level. Then he said, but he remembered that highest state of bliss. Once you get it, you won't forget it. That's the beauty of spiritual bliss. And Hanuman says, "O Master, as long as I am having this form, I always remain to be your servant. You always are my master. As long as I am in this form, I would be always your servant. You are always my master." What a fine value is there in that teaching. I am always your servant means I don't have any ego. My ego is placed at your feet. I am nothing. That is the point. Of course, you are all studying Raja Yoga. It is good to study because you know many things there, scientifically explained. There, it is described, one swayed by ignorance creates a dangerous fantasy known as egotism. This egotism breeds attachment. Attachment makes one cling to a selfish life with its train of resentment and aversion. raga dvesh, likes and dislikes. He is pulled down by likes and dislikes. So, to be egocentric is to be spiritually ill. ILL. All spiritual paths are designed to cure the illness of the ego. All our spiritual practices are meant to tame the ego, not to inflate it. The moment you talk, I am this, I am that, etc., you are disqualified. That's the truth that all the spiritual aspirants must know. I am not able to realize God on account of my ego. Let that rascal die. You must have such determination in spiritual practice. So all the spiritual practices are prescribed with this sole purpose of taming the ego. There is a path of karma, action. How are you going to tame the ego? By doing forcefully if required, engaging yourself in selfless activity. You may not like it, you must do it. Your question of likes and dislikes should not come there. The question of likes and dislikes should not intervene in your selfless activity. Otherwise it will not be karma yoga. Keep aside your likes and dislikes. Even if it is against your wish, yet you should go, do it, then you will understand the beauty of it later on. When you do selfless activity, the most important thing to remember is that when you complete your duty, offer it to God. Oh Lord, please take the results of this action. Give me pure devotion, pure love towards you. Like that one should pray. By this process, what are you doing? You will be tuning your individual will into harmony with the divine will. This is a way to conquer selfish, roguish ego. In Raja Yoga, you will have to proceed with self-analysis. That's also meant to purify your concept. In the course of this investigation, the soul finds that it is not the ego nor the mind but a separate entity. I am not ego, I am behind ego. He strives to dispose of this ego by dwelling on the true nature of the self, apart from the great illusion that confuses it with what belongs to the body and mind, etc. Then there is Jnana Yoga. How does he do? The spiritual aspirant goes further in rising above individual consciousness to cosmos-centric consciousness in unity with Brahman. It is the yoga of knowledge that culminates in the realization of the unity of Jiva with Brahman. Jiva means embodied soul. In the path of devotion, which is considered easy of all the other paths just mentioned, the spiritual aspirant worships God as Father, as Mother, as friend, or as comrade. Not I, but thou, but thou. That concept is very prominent in the devotee who follows the path of devotion. In that process, our lives become instruments in the service of love. Love is the predominating force in the path of devotion. Without love, there is no devotion. Sri Ramakrishna said, liberation comes when your egotism vanishes and you yourself are merged in the divinity. But very few can get rid of the sense of the I through samadhi. And so Sri Ramakrishna stressed the path of service and devotion. There is ego, there are passions, all sorts of things are there. But they are all to be turned towards God. The devotee looks upon himself as a servant of God. Then Sri Ramakrishna tells further, if you must have a desire, what we call kama. Kama means desire. Let it be for the communion with God. If you feel anger, krodh, let it be for all that keeps you away from the spiritual path. If you must be infatuated, let it be with the beauty of holiness. If you must feel pride, be proud to say that you are the servant of God, a child of God. Don't hesitate to say that. Don't feel shy. Don't feel shy to say that you are the devotee or the child of God. And there is the path of upasana. Upasana means worship. At the time of initiation, we teach the aspirants how upasana should be done. It's a most wonderful path. Upasana. What does it mean? It means literally upasana, to sit near the deity. That is called upasana. Sitting near the deity. Your body must sit there, your mind must sit there, your intellect should sit there, your ego should sit there. The whole being must sit there. Don't get out. At the time of upasana. Sit down. Order yourself. Let me sit here. You must be very strict about yourself. We are very strict about others, not about our own selves. That's the tragedy. If you want to be strict on yourself. I appreciate that. Without giving any reason, follow the worship, upasana. Rigorously, regularly, without yielding to all kinds of weaknesses or reasons. Simply accepting the weakness is no remedy. It's all right. A person who has accepted the weakness is better than one who doesn't accept the weakness. To that extent you are better. Pat on yourself. I am good. But mere patting will not lead you to realization. You must always think about your goal. It's very important. The moment you lose sight of the goal, you become the victims of the giants of ego. So, sit in front of your deity means in practice meditation or contemplation on God. That is upasana. Here, when you are practicing upasana, that is worship, God and the self are regarded as two separate entities. I am the individual self, the devotee. God is in the object of my meditation. There is another entity, I am one entity. God is another entity. So you have to start with dualistic approach. The worshipper strives to bring about true unity so far as it lies in him. But the devotee remains the servant and God the master. This attitude may save the person from the dangers of ego. This attitude may serve as a stepping stone if you want to have God realization. Tame your ego, get rid of ego, be child, be servant, cherish the attitude, not I but thou, then you will see God. With these few words I conclude my comments and what Sri Ramakrishna said. One cannot realize God without the renunciation of ego. Thank you. Page 484. Master said smilingly, what good is there in reading a whole lot of scriptures? What good is there in the study of the philosophy? What is the use of talking big? In order to learn archery, one should first aim at a banana tree, then at a reed, then at a wick, and at last at a flying bird. At the beginning, one should concentrate on God with form. Then there are devotees who are beyond the three gunas. They are eternally devoted to God, like Narad. These devotees behold Krishna as Chinmay, all spirit. His abode is Chinmay, his devotee as Chinmay. To them God is eternal, his abode is eternal, his devotee is eternal. Those who reason and speculate following the process of neti don't accept the incarnation of God. Ezra says, well, that divine incarnation is only for the bhakta, not for the jnani, because the jnani is quite contented with his ideal, I am he. Sri Ramakrishna and the devotees remained silent a while. The Pandit resumed the conversation. Pandit said, sir, how does one get rid of callousness? Laughter makes me think of muscles and nerves. Griefs make me think of the nervous system. Master smilingly said, that's why Narayan Shastri used to say, the harmful effect of the study of the scriptures is that it encourages reasoning and arguing. Pandit, is there no way for us then? Master, yes, there is the path of discrimination. In a song occurs the line, ask her son discrimination about the truth. The way lies through discrimination, renunciation and passionate yearning for God. Unless a man practices discrimination, he cannot utter the right words. One time, after expounding religion at great length, Pandit Samadhyaya said, God is dry. He reminded me of the man who once said, my uncle's cowshed is full of horses. Now, does anyone keep horses in a cowshed? With a smile, he said, you have become like a chana para, a Bengali sweetmeat made from cheese, first fried in butter and then soaked in syrup. Chana bara, fried in butter. Now it will be good for you and for others as well if you are soaked in syrup a few days, just a few days. Pandit
said smilingly, "The sweetmeat is over-fried, it has become charred." Master said with a laugh, "No, no, it is brown as a cockroach, just the right color." Hazra said, "The sweetmeat is well cooked, it has become spongy. Now it will soak up the syrup nicely." Master, "You see, there is no need to read too much of the scriptures. If you read too much, you will be inclined to reason and argue. Nanda used to teach me thus: what you get by repeating the word Gita 10 times is the essence of the book. In other words, if you repeat Gita 10 times, it is reversed into Tyagi, which indicates renunciation. Yes, the way to realize God is through discrimination, renunciation and yearning for Him. What kind of yearning? One should yearn for God as a cow with a yearning heart runs after its calf. Pandit said, the same thing is said in the Vedas. O God, we call on Thee as a cow lows for the calf. Master, add your tears to your yearning. And if you can renounce everything through discrimination and dispassion, then you will be able to see God. That yearning brings about God intoxication, whether you follow the path of knowledge or the path of devotion. The sage Durvasa was mad with the knowledge of God. There is a great deal of difference between the knowledge of a householder and that of an all-renouncing sannyasi. The householder's knowledge is like the light of a lamp, which illumines only the inside of a room. He can't see anything with the help of such knowledge except his own body and his immediate family. But the knowledge of the all-renouncing monk is like the light of the sun. Through that light he can see both inside and outside the room. Chaitanya Deva's knowledge had the brilliance of the sun of knowledge. Further, he radiated the soothing light of the moon of devotion. He was endowed with both the knowledge of Brahman and ecstatic love of God. To the Pandit, he said, one can attain spiritual consciousness through both affirmation and negation. There is a positive path of love and devotion, and there is a negative path of knowledge and discrimination. You are preaching the path of knowledge, but that creates a very difficult situation. There the Guru and the disciple do not see each other. Shukadeva went to Janak for instruction about the knowledge of Brahman. Janak said to him, you must pay me the Guru's fee beforehand. When you attain the knowledge of Brahman, you won't pay me the fee, because the knower of Brahman sees no difference between the Guru and the disciple. Both negation and affirmation are ways to realize one and the same goal. Infinite are the opinions and infinite are the ways. But you must remember one thing. The injunction is that the path of devotion described by Narad is best suited to Kali Yuga, that is our age. According to this path, first comes bhakti, then bhava. When bhakti is mature, higher than bhava are mahabhava and prema. An ordinary mortal does not attain mahabhava and prema. He who has achieved these has realized the goal, that is to say, has attained God. Pandit said, in expounding religion, one has to use a great many words. Master said, while preaching, eliminate the head and tail, that is to say, emphasize only the essentials. The Pandit and Mani Mallak became engaged in conversation. Mani was a member of Brahma Samaj. The Pandit argued vehemently about the good and bad sides of the Samaj. Sri Ramakrishna was seated on the small couch and looked on, smiling. Presently he remarked, this is the tamasic aspect of sattva, the attitude of a hero. This is necessary. One should not hold one's tongue at the sight of injustice and untruth. Suppose a bad woman wants to drag you from the path of righteousness. You must then assume the heroic attitude and say, what? You witch? You dare injure my spiritual life? I shall cut your body into two right now. With a smile, Sri Ramakrishna said to the Pandit, Mani Malik has been following the tenets of the Brahma Samaj a long time. You can't convert him to your views. Is it an easy thing to destroy old tendencies? Once there lived a very pious Hindu who always worshipped the Divine Mother and chanted her name. When the Muslims conquered the country, they forced him to embrace Islam. They said to him, You are now a Muslim, say Allah. From now on, you must repeat only the name of Allah. With great difficulty, he repeated the word Allah. But every now and then blurted out Jagadamba, the mother of the universe, name of the Divine Mother. At that the Muslims were about to beat him. Thereupon he said to them, I beseech you, please don't kill me. I have been trying my utmost to repeat the name of Allah, but our Jagadamba has filled me up to the throat. She pushes out your Allah. Allah. She pushes out your Allah. Yeah, good. Sri Ramakrishna's teachings always end up with smiling. Nicely gives the doses. Sugar-coated pills. Sri Ramakrishna's teachings are like that. Sugar-coated pills. They are nice, but they act upon properly. It's a medicine. Yeah. No questions? Do you have any questions to be answered? All right, we shall conclude. Chant the name of the Lord and His glory unceasingly, that the mirror of the heart may be wiped clean and quenched that mighty forest fire, worldly lust, raging furiously within. O name, stream down in moonlight on the lotus heart, opening its cup of the knowledge of thyself. O self, drown deep in the waves of His bliss, tasting His nectar at every step, bathing in His name, that bath for weary souls. Various are thy names, O Lord. In each and every name thy power resides. No times are set, no rites are needful for chanting of thy name. So vast is thy mercy. How huge then is measuredness, who find in this empty life and heart no devotion to thy name. O my mind, be humbler than a blade of grass. Be patient and forbearing like a tree. Take no honor to thyself, give honor to all. Chant unceasingly the name of the Lord. O Lord and soul of the universe, mine is no prayer for wealth or retinue, the playthings of lust or the toys of fame. As many times as I may be reborn, grant me, O Lord, a steadfast love for Thee. A drowning man in this world's fearful ocean is Thy servant, O sweet one. In Thy mercy, consider him as dust beneath Thy feet. Oh, how I long for the day when an instant's separation from Thee, O Lord, will be as 1,000 years. When my heart burns away with this desire, and the world without Thee is a heartless void. Prostrate at Thy feet let me be in unwavering devotion, neither imploring the embrace of Thine arms, nor bewailing the withdrawal of Thy presence, though it tears my soul asunder. O Thou who stillest the hearts of Thy devotees, do with me what Thou wilt, for Thou art my heart's beloved, Thou and Thou alone. O Lord, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness to light, and lead us from death to immortality. May all be free from dangers, may all realize what is good, may all be actuated by noble thoughts, may all rejoice everywhere, may all be happy, may all be free from disease, may all realize what is good, may none be subject to misery. May the wicked become virtuous, may the virtuous attain tranquility, may the tranquil be free from bonds, may the freed make others free. May good betide all people, may the sovereign righteously rule the earth, May all beings ever attain what is good. May the worlds be prosperous and happy. May the clouds pour rain in time. May the earth be blessed with crops. May all countries be freed from calamity. May holy men live without fear. May the Lord, destroyer of sins, the presiding deity of all sacred works, be satisfied. For he being pleased, the whole universe becomes pleased. He being satisfied, the whole universe feels satisfied.